Hello everyone. Today I'm back with The Merchant of Venice, Act 4, Scene 1, Part 3. And these are the textual words for today's content, what we are going to discuss today. For a quick recap, we have read that the Duke has tried to convince Shylock to change his decision to let go Antonio, but he is not ready to listen to anyone. Even Bassanio and Grishanio have tried to argue with him. Grishanio had even called him a merciless, cruel dog. But he says, either you improve your wit, else you are just wasting your energy. So we will be continuing from line number 150 in my book, where the Duke gets the letter from Nerissa. As she has already entered, she is on the stage. Duke, this letter from Valerio doth recommend young and learned doctor to our court. Now, first of all, learn this word doctor. Many people get confused over there. Say, what do you mean by doctor? Why a doctor over here? So, doctor word refers to a person who has specialized in any field of education. So here doctor refers to the doctor of law, the one who has done detailed study in law. And here doctor is referred to Portia, who is going to enter as the lawyer which has been sent by Bellerio, who was an official lawyer of the Duke and coincidentally the cousin of Portia. So we begin from here. So when the Duke comes to know that the lawyer is standing outside, he very politely orders some 3 or 4 of you go and give him courteous conduct and ask his servants or the people standing there to go and call the lawyer inside. And meanwhile, he allows or orders the clerk to read the letter to the public. Now learn the contents of the letter. I have specified over here. These are the textual words for the letter. The clerk reads out the letter. This is the letter which Uncle Bellerio has written to the Duke. Why? Because the Duke had called him, had summoned him to come and solve this case. But he does not come. Why? Because Portia wants to go instead. And he has given all the directions to Portia how this case has to be solved. So here's the letter. Your Grace shall understand that at the receipt of your letter, when I received that letter, I am very sick. I is Bellerio. He is writing this letter. This is point number 1. Remember the letter and the points, although you have to write in a paragraph. Point number 1, I am very sick, but in the instant that your messenger came, instant at the same moment, when your messenger came in loving visitation, a friendly visit, was with me a young doctor of Rome. Doctor, I have already explained you. This is point number 2. He says, at the same time when I received your letter, one friend of mine came to me, a doctor of Rome, and his name is Balthazar. So don't get confused. If you get a question in the paper, who is Balthazar, you have to write the answer that Balthazar is the trusted servant of Portia. Here the name Balthazar has been mentioned because Portia has disguised herself as a lawyer. And she has to take some name. She cannot say I am Portia. She doesn't want to reveal that identity. So she has taken the name of Balthazar. She has entered the court of Venice with the name of Balthazar. I acquainted, point number 3 of the letter, I acquainted him. I told him, informed him with the cause in controversy with the whole case between Antonio and Shylock. Between the Jew and Antonio the merchant, we turned over many books together. We discussed. We took the help of different books of the law, that what could be the possible solutions to this case. Then point number 4, he is furnished with my opinion. Furnished, provided with. He says he also holds the same opinion which I have. Number 5, which bettered with his own learning, the greatness whereof I cannot even commend, comes with him at my importunity request. He says, although we both hold the same view how this solution has to be taken out, but he with his own learning, which is much better than mine, I request you that you should at least give him a chance to fill up your grace request in my stead. I beseech you, let his lack of years is young age, be not impediment to let him lack of reverence. Impediment, obstacle, lack of reverence, lack of respect. So next point he says, don't go at his age. He appears to be a very young man. Portia dressed as a lawyer. So Valerio says that he appears to be a very young man, but at the same time, he is very mature and wise. Let his lack of years be no impediment to let him lack a reverent estimation, for I never knew so young a body, such young age, with so old a head, mature, wise. I leave him to your gracious acceptance, whose trial shall better publish his commendation. Trial, conduct, commendation, praise. So these are the textual words. You have to remember what all is written in the letter about sick young doctor of Rome, Balthazar, furnished with my opinion, strengthened by his own learning, wisdom worthy of praise. So in short, Valerio says to Duke that you should give him the chance. He will definitely solve it properly. Duke, you hear the learned Valerio, who he writes, and here I take it is the doctor come. So by the time Nerissa enters in a boy's dress disguised as a, Portia enters in the boy's dress disguised as a lawyer. So the Duke welcomes him and he asks Portia whether you know about the case. So Portia says, yes, I very well know about the case, but I only want to know who is Antonio and who is Shylock, because remember, she has not yet seen Antonio or Shylock. I am informed thoroughly of the case, which is the merchant here and which is the Jew. So the Duke asks Antonio and Shylock to come forward so that Portia can see. Now see here, most of the children get confused. Madam, how are we supposed to write the answer? Because Portia has been disguised as a boy, but otherwise she is a girl. So most probably you are going to get the questions in the exam with the female version only. What did Portia say? How was Portia dressed? How did Portia solve the case? So you're going to answer in the same pattern only, that Portia said so, she did so. You are supposed to answer the questions with the she word only over there. Portia. So, is your name Shylock? Shylock is my name. So, look at the way Shylock answers. He is very obdurate. He says, yes, I am Shylock. Of a strange nature is the suit you follow. Suit, request. So, Portia says, this is a very strange case. I have never heard about such a case. Yet, in such rules that Venetian law rules the laws of Venice, cannot impunge you as you do proceed. Impunge you, punish you, to take an action. She says it is a very horrible case. And yet the laws of Venice are so that even you cannot be punished for getting such a bond signed by Antonio. So you have a good luck over there. So these first three sentences have been addressed to Shylock. And the last sentence of the same dialogue, you stand with his danger, do you not? This line has been addressed to Antonio. Mind it. You stand within his danger. Within his danger, you are liable to his penalty. So now she looks at Antonio and says, you have to deal with this. There is no other. Do you not? So in the nutshell, she is just trying to, this is the part of her policy. This is a part of her conduct which she is following. So the first impression what she has given to Shylock is that almost you have won the case. Why? Because this is just like an open and shut case. Why? Because the laws of Venice cannot punish you. And Antonio is unable to pay back the penalty. So Antonio also agrees. Do you confess the bond? So she is asking Antonio, do you confess that you had signed such a bond? And he says, yes, he is honest enough. Then must the Jew be merciful? Then she says, then the Jew, Shylock, should show some mercy to Antonio. On what compulsion? So Shylock says, why is it compulsory? Why should I show any mercy? Now this is a very important mercy dialogue of Portia. Already it has come in the question paper of the board, so this is very important. Understand it very, go in detail and understand it and mark the points, the mercy dialogue. Now Portia, Shylock is asking, why should I show mercy? So Portia is replying, why you have to show mercy. Point number 1, mark it in your books. The quality of mercy is not strained, forced. So Portia says you have to show mercy because mercy cannot be forced. We cannot ask you, force you. So it has to be from your side. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. So this is all point number 1. She says why? Because mercy is a spontaneous feeling which comes from inside. Just as the rain drops spontaneously on the earth and it calms everywhere. शांति दे देती है जब बारिश आती है, उसी तरह मर्सी की फीलिंग अंदर से आती है. स्पॉन्टेनियस फीलिंग ऑफ मर्सी कम्स फ्रॉम इनसाइड, और द वन हु शोज मर्सी उसको भी शांति मिल जाती है. पॉइंट नंबर 2, इट इज ट्वाइस ब्लेस्ड, इट ब्लेसेथ हिम दैट गिव्स एंड हिम दैट टेक्स. ही सेज व्हाई मर्सी इज इंपॉर्टेंट? बिकॉज मर्सी ब्लेसेस बोथ. द वन हु गेट्स मर्सी, he is blessed, उस पर दया दिखा दी, and the one who gives mercy, he is blessed by God. So it blesses both. Point number 3, it is mightiest in the mightiest. First mightiest means the greatest quality, and the second mightiest means the most powerful man. So what does it mean? It is mightiest in the mightiest. It means that it is the most powerful quality of the most, it is the greatest quality of the most powerful person, that mercy suits the one who is very powerful. If a person is powerful and on top of it he is also merciful, then nobody can compete with such a personality. Point number 4. Now next 3-4 lines are point number 4, in which Portia wants to say that a king is respected out because of his crown and scepter. 2 things are in his emblem. Crown, ताज जो राजा पहनता, and his scepter. Scepter is a long rod जिससे वो लड़ाई करता है. He says ये 2 चीजें, these 2 things are the emblem of a king, are the sign of a king, and the powerful king who has lot of empires under him. Many people respect him out of awe, out of fear, because they are frightened of such a king. But if such a powerful king also shows mercy along with his power, then he becomes the greatest king. Let us study this point number 4. The throned monarch, throned, the throne of the monarch, monarch is the king. The throned monarch, better than his, it becomes the throned monarch, it becomes nobler. The throned monarch, better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power. Scepter is the rod. Temporal power, earthly power, that he has won lot of land with the help of his scepter. The attribute to awe and majesty, attribute the reminder, and people are reminded that he is such a powerful king, he is such brave king, so they are fearful and frightened of him, and that adds to the awe and majesty. वो राजा और भी शान में बढ़ जाता है. Wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings, और आसपास के सारे weak rulers, weak kings are afraid of him. But mercy is above this sceptered sway. Sceptered sway, above this worldly rule. लेकिन अगर उस राजा के पास, if he has mercy, then this earthly rule becomes much better under his direction. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. Enthroned, it is a noble quality in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. Attribute to tribute. Then this is point number 5. Such a king is no less than God. And earthly power doth then show likest God when mercy seasons him. And earthly power doth is does, then show likest means he becomes just like God when mercy seasons justice. Seasons is mixed with, is added on. When mercy is added along with justice, then it becomes an attribute to God. वो राजा भगवान से कम नहीं होता. Next point. Therefore, Jew, though justice be thy plea, your plea, request, consider this, that in the course of justice, none of us should see salvation. So salvation, or you call it moksha, this is written in every religion, that when we die, we go to God and God offers us or gives us or sends us to heaven or hell according to our deeds. That is called salvation. And at that time, we demand mercy from God. So Portia is saying कि after all you are also going to die one day. तुम्हें भी salvation चाहिए. So when you reach God, how will you ask for mercy if you are not showing yourself? The same thing was repeated by Duke also. Remember. We do pray for mercy, and that same prayer Doth teaches us all. We do pray for mercy. We do pray for mercy from God after death, and that teaches us all to render show the deeds of mercy. और उस दिन के डर से, the final day when we have to go to God, उस दिन के डर से we all try to show mercy in this life. I have spoke thus much to mitigate the justice of thy plea. Mitigate, to soften the justice of thy plea, your request. I am trying to soften your mind so that you can show your mercy. Which if you follow, the justice of thy plea क्या है? Request. शायलोक ने क्या रिक्वेस्ट किया कि मुझे मेरी जस्टिस मिले. Which if you follow, मतलब in case Shylock refuses to show mercy, this court of Venice must needs give sentence against, and if you refuse to show mercy, then we have to give punishment to Antonio. So this is very important speech. Remember the textual words and these points of the mercy dialogue. Not strain, drops twice placed, throned monarch, verse vector, tribute to God, and salvation. Remember these textual words and then you can make your own sentences. But Shylock is very firm, very blunt, very rude, very straightforward. And time and again the king and Portia and everybody is asking him to show this mercy, because the author Shakespeare is trying to make out the climax that so many people tried to convince Shylock and still he did not listen to anyone. That is why he will be punished so badly in the end, because he is not ready to listen to anyone. My deeds upon my head, I am responsible for my salvation. He says, मुझे कोई डर नहीं है भगवान का. I crave the law, demand the law, the penalty, the forfeit of my bond. He says, I only want my penalty. What is the penalty? To cut, what is the forfeiture? To cut 1 pound of flesh from the heart of Antonio. And when it will be cut from here, ultimately Antonio will die. So Portia is again trying to convince him. Is he not able to discharge the money? She asks loudly in the whole crowd. Is he stands for Antonio. Is Antonio unable to pay the money? Now Bassanio again comes in. He says, no, not at all. Remember what Bassanio says. Number 1, here I tender to it in the court. Tender, offer. Number 1, twice the sum. Bassanio says, I am ready to pay twice the amount. 3,000 ducats, I am ready to pay 6,000. If that will not suffice enough, I will be bound to pay 10 times over. He says, if twice is not that, I am even ready to pay 10 times. 3 into 10, 30,000 ducats I am ready to pay for it. On forfeit of my hands, my head, my heart. Number 3, and if even 10 times amount is not satisfactory, I am ready to give my life. I am ready to give my hands, my head, my heart. If this will not suffice, he says, agar ye bhi enough nahi hai, then it must appear that malaise bears down truth. Point number 4. Malaise bears down truth. Malaise is hatred. He says that means his feelings of hatred has crushed truth, honesty. कि उसके अंदर इतनी ज़्यादा hatred भरी हुई है that he is not ready to accept the truth. What is the truth? That we are offering him so many things, but he does not want anything. He only wants his hatred to come out. And then number 5 point of his dialogue, he requests Portia that you do something and try to change the law. He says, right now you are a lawyer and you have the authority. So use your authority and try to change some law so that Shylock should be punished for making such a bond and Antonio should be left. And I beseech you, request you, rest once the law, rest, change the law. To your authority, you are a lawyer, you can do that right now. To do a great right, what to do a great right? To save Antonio. Do a little wrong, what a little wrong has to be done? To change the law right now. And curb this cruel devil of his will, curb, deprive. But Portia says, it is not possible. How can I change the law right now? She says, if I change the law right now, tomorrow another case will come. And then that man will also say, change the law according to this situation. So this will be set as a bad example. It cannot be done. So Portia shows her wisdom because she has some other game plan in her mind. It must not be. There is no power in Venice can alter a decree established. Alter, change, decree, a rule, a law. It will be recorded for a precedent. What is a precedent? This is not the president of the country. This is the precedent, which means example. She says, if I change the law right now, it will be set as a bad example, which I don't want to do. And many an error by the same example will rush into the state, and others people will also try to request the same thing for their cases, which cannot be done. Shylock, a Daniel, he calls it a Daniel, she says. Shylock is very impressed. He says, such a nice lawyer. So Shylock is feeling that Portia is taking his side. Usko abhi tak pura game plan nahi pata. He is very happy because he is thinking कि अब तक the way Portia has tried to talk, it is all in the favor of Shylock. So he names her Daniel. Now Daniel was a Jewish prophet, Prophet. He was a very wise judge of Jews. So Shylock is given the same name to Portia. A Daniel come to judgment. Yes, a Daniel. Oh, why? So he praises Portia. I pray you, let me look upon the bond. So Portia says, show me the bond. Let me read it, what was written in it. Here it is, most reverend doctor. So Portia reads it and she could not find anything offensive about it other way. So Shylock, there is thrice thy money offered thee. So she is offering once again. वो बारी बारी offer कर रही है, just to heighten, to show that Shylock was so cruel that after even so many requests, he did not listen to anyone. And Portia says, you are being offered thrice the money. Take it. An oath I have, an oath. He says, ना मैंने तो कसम खाई है. An oath I have, an oath in heaven. मैंने भगवान के आगे कसम खाई है. मैं अपना बॉन्ड लेकर रहूंगा. Shall I lay perjury upon my soul? Perjury to break an oath. He says, मैंने भगवान के आगे कसम खाई है. क्या मैं अपनी उस कसम को तोड़ दूं? No, not for Venice. Venice के लिए कभी भी मैं अपने भगवान को दी हुई कसम नहीं तोड़ूंगा. That shows his hatred for the Christians. Why? This bond is forfeit, and lawfully by this the Jew may claim a pound of flesh to be cut off nearest the merchant's heart. Be merciful, take thrice thy money, bid me tear the bond. Portia ने फिर लास्ट में बोला, कहता मान जाओ, take thrice the money और मेरे को ये बॉन्ड फाड़ के फेंकने दो इस कागज के टुकड़े को. When it is paid according to the tenor according to the strict wordings, उसने बोला मुझे तो ये बॉन्ड लेना है, पेनल्टी लेनी है, just according to the wordings which is written on the bond. एक एक मुझे उस words को follow करना है. It doth appear you are a worthy judge, worthy, able, respectable. You know the law, your exposition, your explanation hath been most sound. I charge you by the lay whereof you are a well-deserving pillar. Well-deserving pillar, उसने उसको नाम दिया, that Portia, you are such a strong, such a wise, such a mature lawyer. You are a well-deserving pillar. Here these words are used as a metaphor. Well-deserving pillar means you are a champion of your field. Proceed to judgment. He says, there is no power in the tongue who can stop me. I want my bond and nothing else. So now everything has been heightened up. The climax of the play has arrived. In the next video, we will be reading how the tables will turn around, turn back. Shylock will be totally devastated and distracted. That we will be reading in the next video. So note these textual words, and if you are still not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe for further explanations. Goodbye.